Oh, welcome into another episode of This Week in Braves Country, where we go over all the news, notes, and action that took place over this week in Braves Country. I am not excited to get started, but without too much more delay, let's get right into this. So the Braves went on their first big road trip of the year, this being a West Coast road trip. They faced off against the Seattle Mariners and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And to be a spoiler, things didn't go well. In Game 1, the Braves faced off against Bryce Miller, who is very good in his own right. Honestly, the entire Seattle Mariners pitching staff is just not to be reckoned with. They're very solid. And the Braves would continue the trend that we have seen in the past 2 to 3 weeks, and that is absolutely no offense. But on the other side of the card, someone who else was dealing absolutely no offense was Max Fried. Max has had a weird up and down year, but tonight he was on. Max coming in with a 2-0 record and a 4.97 ERA doesn't sit too well on paper, but he dealt. Albeit he labored against a not great Seattle lineup, but Max was still shoving. So getting through the first scoreless for both squads, we'd flip it to the second inning, where it would remain so as well. In the bottom of the second, Fried led on a little bit of trouble as he walked a batter, and this would be a kind of a theme throughout. Runners would get on against Fried without benefit of a hit, because he just didn't have his control. I don't think he's really had his control all season long. What is Orlando doing? So the two pitchers continued to deal really throughout the entire game. The only close play that really happened was Jarred Kelenic really wanting this infield single. Zeros would continue to be twirled through the third inning and indeed through the fourth, as Bryce Miller was absolutely electric tonight. I can't overstate how much this Mariners rotation is. They are like the peak Brewers right now, where they can't hit anything. They have a few studs, but their pitching is star-studded. So good. So 0-0 through 4 innings, just the usual. A lot of more weak ground outs, some strikeouts for the Braves, just nothing doing at all. And it was likewise for Max in the bottom half of the inning. You get to the 6th inning, and then you really start to look at the scoreboard. These two pitchers, Max Fried and Bryce Miller, were throwing dual no-hitters. Wow. The no-hitter for the Mariners would end in the top half of the 7th inning as Ronald Acuna Jr. rolled a ball up the middle into center field for a base hit off the shortstop's glove. So, the Braves had opportunity as Ronald stole the base, so now he's in scoring position, as per usual. And Bryce Miller, laboring, was left in to face Ozzie Albies, who promptly deposited a ball to the right center field track for a RBI double, 1-0 Braves. In the bottom of the 7th inning, Pierce Johnson would come in relief of Max Fried, who had thrown well over 100 pitches at that point, so you can't just let him keep going. A lot of people are upset about this, as people will be, but this was the correct decision. Pierce throws a 1-2-3 inning and gets it to the bottom of the 8th inning, where Joe Jimenez comes on, and things began to unravel. A leadoff walk for Jimenez. The no-hitter would come to an end after a ground ball to the right side that Ozzie just couldn't snag as it went into right field, but the trouble doesn't end, as now there's 2 on with nobody out. Joe Jimenez would get an out, in fact, and would get out of the inning after loading the bases, and the game remained scoreless for the Mariners. In the top of the 9th inning, though, AJ Minter let on a runner, and Mitch Garver stood to the plate, and oh boy. Game 1 was the most exciting game out of the bunch, as, of course, the dual no-hitters, but in Game 2, the Braves just got stuffed by Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo is probably my favorite pitcher in the big leagues, and he did not hold back. Opposing Luis Castillo was Ronaldo Lopez, who had his first bad outing as a Brave. And it wasn't even that bad. It was typical 4th, 5th starter stuff. In the top of the 8th inning against the Mariners bullpen, the Braves tried to make a little bit of a comeback. They did make the game close, scoring 2 on a little bit of funkiness by the Mariners on their own part. It got so scary at some point that the Mariners brought in Andres Munoz. but they were facing Austin Riley and Matt Olson, so it's not actually as scary as it sounds. Okay, let's talk about this right now before we get to the finale. Matt Olson and Austin Riley will be fine. They will be good. They will be good baseball players because they have the track record to prove so. But to this point, they have been dreadful. Matt Olson in particular. Austin Riley has had some good, convincing sabermetric data, and if you look at his baseball savant profile, which I hate bringing that up, but I mean, look, it tells a story that the on-field stuff doesn't. Austin Riley has been quite unlucky. He's been hitting the ball hard. I'm always worried about Austin Riley's strikeouts because just when Austin Riley strikes out, it is not competitive. He is wailing and flailing at everything in sight, and yeah. I haven't gotten a chance to watch a lot of Braves baseball over the past 2 weeks. Honestly, quite lucky because they've been dreadful for that span of time. But what I have seen from Matt Olson this year is that the dude is he doesn't see, he's not seeing the ball. He does not know where the ball is coming from. I have never seen a player. A lot of people will say Ronnie, but I've never seen a player get called like looking on strikes more than Matt Olson. Even if they're not in the zone, he legitimately looks puzzled every at bat. And this has gone on into this week that I'm recording this against Boston. He is tremendously lost. He's not even at the level of 2022 Matt Olson lost because even 2022 Matt Olson was pretty good. The metrics say that he's at his lowest whiff and his lowest swing rate of his career. Eye test disagrees with that because look, if you look at the page, he's going to be fine. Matt Olson is going to be good. He's going to be great. He's a great baseball player. He will be okay. However, right now he's essentially a free out if you throw anything down and in because he's trying to golf it. He's pressing. But things will shake out in time. He's had a couple of hard hit balls. He finally caught a break last night against Boston. But yeah, that's the gist on Matt Olson right now. Okay, on to the fun game where the Braves actually won. Emerson Hancock would take the mound versus Chris Sale for Atlanta. And let's kick it off by talking about Chris Sale. Oh my. Chris Sale has been amazing in Atlanta. I don't think anyone, even myself, expected this. He is striking out almost everybody. His whiff rate is through the roof. No one's seeing the ball well from him. The Braves immediately showed more signs of life than they had in the entire first two games of this series. They put the couple runners on against Emerson Hancock in the first. It didn't lead to anything, but it's good to see them see the ball. As I stated before, Chris Sale was electric. Got a couple strikeouts in the first and second inning. In the top of the third, Ronald Acuna Jr. tried to get out a little bit of funk. A couple of really hard hit balls from him and Riley, both crossing the 100-mile-per-hour mark. Matt Olson would draw a walk, and then Marcell Ozuna would come up with the bases loaded and also draw a walk, scoring a run. Chris Sale went back out in the third and shoved, including this incredible play from Orlando Arcia, who, if he can't swing the bat, he can certainly play a good brand of defense. Chris would get himself into a little bit of trouble in third, but of course would find his way out of it because he's Chris Sale. In the top of the fourth inning, the Braves looked to add on to their 1-0 lead, and they would start off in the good foot as Orlando Arcia hit this bloop single. Yep, that's the way it's been going. Ronald Acuna Jr. would single, bringing home Orlando Arcia, which, how do you not throw out Orlando Arcia there? Very funny. And the Braves would not be done yet. Ozzie Albies continued a 14-game hitting streak, moving Ronald over to second base, and then Austin Riley would hit a ball all the way to the track, which in Seattle, it is very hard to hit a ball out because it's just, the ballpark stinks. Anytime Austin Riley can triple, you know there is bad defense involved. I'm not calling Austin as slow as Matt Olson or Orlando Arcia, but he's definitely not Ricky Henderson out there. Look at that big boy go. So the Braves have already gotten 4 on the board here. Really good showing. Matt Olson would stand in, and look at that. Matt Olson, RBI single. Much needed for Matt. So with a 5-0 lead, Chris Sale would make it into the bottom of the fourth inning and load the bases. Oh no. But then was able to find his way out of it, as he usually does, with a flyout to Michael Harris. In the bottom of the fifth inning, a leadoff double would put Chris in a tough spot, and despite getting a couple outs, he was not immune to some flukiness, as Jorge Polanco would single him home off the end of his bat, making it a 5-1 ball game. But honestly, even if they rallied as well as they did in the seventh, they just got one more run across. At the end of the day, the Braves locked up a victory with a score of 5-2. Now it was time to go to Los Angeles. And this was the exact dark arts, silly, stupid swarm of unluckiness that had to hit the Braves. The Dodgers were on an upturn. They're still on an upturn. They're still red hot. And the Braves were slumping bad. After a Ronald Acuna Jr. bloop base hit, the Braves looked to be in business. Ozzie did roll out, and where are you going? Oh. And then on a 3-1 pitch to Austin Riley, of course, he hits a home run. So what could have been a 2-run bomb is a solo shot, but alas, the Braves led 1-0 for Charlie Morton. Morton came on and was good through one, despite allowing a Freddie Freeman double. And the game would more or less stay like this for a minute. One thing to highlight, though, as Charlie got into standard trouble in the bottom of the second inning, Gavin Lux sent a ball to left field for a single. Jared Kelenic absolutely hosed the runner at home plate and really saved the game for the moment, because I feel like if the Dodgers score there, they're going to keep the windmill going on Charlie. Austin had another base hit, meaning that hopefully he's coming out of his slump, and Matt Olson went down looking in the top of the third. In the bottom of the third inning, Will Smith doubled home Shohei Ohtani, tying the game at 1. But the bottom of the fourth was not over yet, as Teoscar Hernandez blasted a ball deep to right field, opposite field pop, and just like that, the Dodgers took the lead away. Gavin Stone continued to twirl for the Dodgers, and the rest of the game just kind of started to float by. In the top of the eighth inning, the Dodgers would turn to their bullpen, and on a full count pitch to Ronald Acuna Jr., he blasted his second homer of the year, and I really was surprised how he got that ball out of there. It looked like that rode in on him, but he squared up very nicely and was able to send it over the fence. So a tie ball game once more. AJ Minter comes on in the bottom of the eighth inning, gets into trouble, and sits down Max Muncy, who will show up again in the next game. So we're going to extras, everybody, as we get to the top of the ninth inning. The ghost runner for the Braves advanced to third base, and then Orlando Arcia almost hit a ball out of here. He made it to the track, but it was deep enough for a sacrifice fly, and the Braves took the lead 3-2. In the bottom of the 10th, Raisel Iglesias was on, and Shohei Ohtani somehow, some way, got the bat head on this changeup in the right-handed batter's box to gear it into center field for a game-tying single. Iglesias would make the rest of the 10th look easy after giving up that run. That just hurts. And then with the ghost runner in the top of the 11th on, the Braves would send Ronald, Ozzie, and Riley to the plate, and they didn't bring him home. You are given a ghost runner at second base, and you send the top three of your lineup. You have to score that. You just have to score that. I'm not even upset about it. I'm sad about it. I'm sad. So this left the door wide open for the Dodgers, and is that Jesse Chavez? Why is Jesse pitching in an extra inning game? Andy Page is singled on a ball to center field that... Mike, you gotta dive. You gotta dive for that ball. Oh. Gut-wrenching, to say the least. So, a couple things before we go to the final two games of the series. Jesse Chavez was pitching in the extra inning game because Pierce Johnson was unavailable. And we would later find out that he had been transferred to the 15-day IL for elbow inflammation. Oh, not good, not good, not good, not. Game number 2, I don't think you could think of a better explanation rather than hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. But this would be the Dodgers ace versus Bryce Elder, and oh god bless, come on. Bryce would have to be absolutely perfect to face this Dodgers lineup, which was hitting good right now. And he wasn't. From the first batter, it was loud, loud, loud contact. But he got Shohei Ohtani out swinging. So who's really the better player here? Who's the better pitcher, Shohei? So with everyone clenching their fists and wondering what would happen, Bryce Elder didn't make him wait too long. In the second inning, he let Will Smith on. And Max Muncy in 2024 torched us. His first of 3 home runs put the Dodgers up 2-0. That's all the scoring that would happen in the second inning. And on the other end, Glasnow was locked in. The Braves had absolutely no idea what to expect from him. In the bottom of the third, Shohei Ohtani would go yard for the first time in this series. That ball went a long way. And in the top of the fourth inning, the Braves were able to get on the board thanks to an Austin Riley single and, of course, a Ronald Acuna Jr. stolen base, 3-1. And in the fourth inning, Bryce Elder couldn't even make it past it. He went 3 1/3 innings pitched and had to depart with 2 runners in scoring position for Dylan Lee, who Lee has been pretty good this year. And Dylan Lee let 2 score. So in the bottom of the fourth inning, it was 7-1 Atlanta, and yeah, this game was over. That insult to injury, in the bottom of the 7th inning, Tyler Matzik came on, and Max Muncy hit his second home run of the night. By this point, the Dodgers were dancing in the Braves' grave, playing They Not Like Us all the way to the bank. Which, pause. Tyler Matzik entered with a 10 ERA into this game. Woof. Jackson Stevens would come on in a mop-up role, and Max Muncy would hit his 3rd home run of the night. Wait, hold on a minute. How did that ball get out? Off the end of the bat? Are we serious? Alright, guys. Juiced balls are in LA. They're making the Dodgers win. MLB, you're not hiding from this one. We know what you're doing. The Braves would go on to lose this game 11-2. In Game 3, the Braves did have another chance to possibly light up a Dodgers pitcher, as it was James Paxton, who has had a good year, but he's not Tyler Glasnow. But he's better than Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Max Fried would start in this game, and coming off of Max Fried never allowed a hit that day. So, coming off a no-hitter for Max Fried, he let a runner on in the first and gave up a home run to Shohei Ohtani. So with a 2-0 lead, the Braves were behind the 8 ball early, and honestly, Max settled in pretty good. He didn't have the best outing, but he was okay. Usually in LA, he is very, very good, but obviously he just didn't have it or whatnot today. And that continued to show in the bottom of the 6th inning as he allowed Teoscar Hernandez to launch a 2-run bomb to left field, 4-0 Dodgers. The Braves were getting shut out by James Paxton until the top of the 7th inning when Marcell Ozuna... No, he did. He did it again. Okay, it wasn't Will Smith this time, but it was hitting a Dodgers catcher in the head with a backswing, which is hilarious. And it was even more funny because it was immediately followed with a solo home run to right field. Maybe he should just keep hitting Dodger catchers in the head. I don't know. Get him out again. Marcel's solo shot made it a 4-1 game. As we got to the bottom of the 8th inning, AJ Minter came on, and here comes the long ball thing again to Shohei Ohtani. So just like that, the Braves were swept out of LA, and it wasn't pretty in the slightest. Pardon my French, the Dodgers kicked the dog out of the Braves. They really beat the hell out of them. This was a complete outclassing. It was not fair. We got little brothered pretty bad. A couple of injury things before we officially go away. I mentioned Pierce Johnson to the 15-day. Sean Murphy is progressing. I think Brian Snicker spoke about it and it's like, look, there's no reason to rush him. look, you don't love Chadwick Trump going out there every third day and just looking clueless, but it's just a situation you're in. There are much worse situations than Travis d'Arnaud and Chadwick Trump. Bottom line. And something a little more sad about injuries. Tyler Matzik was transferred to the 15-day IL with elbow inflammation. Ray Kerr was called up to fill the spot. He might be injured, but I don't think so. I think Tyler gave his shoulder and his elbow for a World Series ring, and I really hope he didn't give his career because he's getting clobbered. His velocity is not picked back up. Hopefully during this time away, he'll be able to figure something out. I really hope what the Braves do, if he does come back, is just send him to Gwinnett. Let him figure his stuff out down there because he's getting rocked up here. Put him on his rehab assignment. I know he doesn't have options, and you might be able to sneak him through waivers if you were put in that situation. But I really hope Tyler can figure it out. I love that guy. I think all of Braves country loves that guy. We would run through a wall for him. You should never buy a drink in Atlanta again. But he's just not playable right now, not in his current state. Thanks for tuning in to This Week in Braves Country. We're going to be back to a more consistent schedule, hopefully. If you want to follow me on socials, I'm everywhere. But again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.